This conference will now be recorded.
No. Okay, so I hope you don't have any issue with that homework that I gave it to you. Uh, it's almost like the same thing that we did in our session, last week's session. It's just like you have to work with either array or list. So in any kind of situation, if you are looking for like if you are searching something from an array or from a list, then you have to follow this approach. If you there are like some other approach we have, there are like shortcuts we have in list, but not in array. So if you understand how it works for array, you can do it in list and set as well. Okay, so you have this. So we can simplify this program, but I believe that we don't need to do it right now. Otherwise, it will you'll think it will be very complex for you. So let's keep it like as is, and if we get time, then we'll come back again on this one. And I saw some of that the homework submission. So you are using this the Boolean variable with like this double equals to true. So this part is like optional. You can keep it, but it's like it's unnecessary. This part is basically unnecessary because if this is a true, then it will go inside, right? So this means that this, and this means that this part is extra, and if it's true, then it will go inside and do the job. Otherwise, if it is a false, then it will go to that else part. Okay, so if you want, you can keep it, but the standard is we don't use this part here. It's something like this one. So if you are incrementing by 1, so why should I write this I equals to I plus 1? It's a simplified format. So instead of using this, I can simply use I plus plus. Okay, so it's up to you, but usually we don't use that. That is a standard. Okay, so let's move to our new topic. So I have to remove all of this. I don't need any of this from here right now. So I'm removing all of this. So I'm going to create a new package today for that one. So it's the same thing. So this is my project. This is the SRC folder. Inside this SRC folder, I have two packages already. One is advanced topic, another is sample package. So I will create another package. So to do that, I have to right click on the SRC folder, then go to this new and then package. So package name I'm giving functional learning. Okay, functional learning. And I will keep as is, like I don't need to click on this checkbox, so I'll keep this as is, so no changes, anything else. Click on finish, and then it will create this new package. Once you create this new package, you also need to create a class, right? So let's create a class inside this package. So right click on this package, new, and this class, and give it any name like simple function learning. Okay, we'll start from the simple function learning, and the same thing, I also need this public static void main. Okay, click on this checkbox and click on finish. So this week's session is very important because this week's session, it will help you to understand how the libraries work, how the different options. So when you do something like this, where is that? Problem solving. So when you do like after the system, when you put this dot, you get a list of options. You see that? You got the list of options. So after the out, you have a dot, and in this, after this dot, you have a lot of options, right? So you will understand this part by this week. Okay. So let's start with this one. So here I have a very new class and I don't have any code here. So as usual, I will take this part, the first line out, and the second line. So I will keep this part a little down here. Okay. Now, tell me one thing. If I'm giving you 10 variables, and I'm telling you that you have to create not variables, like values. And if I'm telling you that you have to add these values like 2 by 2, like you have to add the first two, and then you have to add second, third, and fourth. So let's say that I'm giving you this 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So how many are there? 6. Okay, let's say about the 6. 10 and 6 are same. The approach is same. So if I'm telling you that you have to add these two numbers and print the result, then you have to add these two numbers and print the result. Then you have to add these two numbers and print the result. So what will be my approach for these two, for this doing this operation? Any idea? Any suggestion? So I have to add these two values, which will be in a different variables, and then I have to print the result in the console. So how can I do that? Anyone? No? So I have these two values inside a variable, like because this is an integer value, so I have to keep that in an integer variable, right? Integer a equals to, let's say, 10, like this, right? And then I have to do that same thing, integer b equals to 20. Then I have to add these two values and keep that in a different variable, right? Integer c equals to a plus b. Then I said that you also have to print that result, right? So system out println c. You got it? Like adding, yes, that's correct. So like simple adding. So if I run this class, what will happen? It will show me the result of these two, adding these two values, that is 30, right? Okay. Now, if I say that you have to do the same thing for these two values, so what will be my approach for these two?
Same thing, like I have to type again integer c equal to 30, integer d equal to 40, then I can go
30.
we do have already c, so we can put the name over here d variable.
Okay, yes, that is correct. So you cannot use the same variable again, right?
Yeah.
D equals to 40.
Then we can type integer f equal to d plus e.
D plus E.
Then the same thing, system.println
F.
we can put over here f.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now this is done for these two, and these two I'm getting the results also, which is correct, right? Now, if I need to do the same thing for these two variable, how can I do that?
Again, we have to follow the same procedure. Integer, we can put h.
Okay,
integer G.
if G equals to 50, integer H equals to 60, and then integer I, dhi equals to
G plus
G plus H, right?
correct.
And then system out println I.
Yep.
So the thing is, the values are different, but my operation is same. So I'm adding just two values all the time. Here I'm doing the same thing. Here I'm doing the same thing. Here I'm doing the same thing. So in that kind of situation, when I'm repeating the same thing. So in programming, we should not do that. We should not like repeat ourselves like that. There is a something called dry. Okay, here, here, dry. This dry means don't. This means do not repeat yourself. That's mean that don't do anything that that is kind of like repeating. Don't create any repeating task. So this is a repeating task. So this is like the values are different, but my operation, the approach is same for all of them. Like this, if you have like more values to add, you have to do the same thing again, right? So to overcome this approach, so to make this like don't repeat yourself, what you need to do is we have to make something which will take these two number or take any number, and then it will do the job. Okay. Now this is for the first time that we need to go outside of your this bracket. So we have two ending brackets, right? We have two ending brackets. Make sure that this is the first time that we are going outside the first ending bracket. And when you are outside the first ending bracket, put some extra bracket, extra space here, so that you don't write any code outside this bracket, the last bracket, ending last curly bracket. Okay, so we have to write something here. We'll do something here. You got it? Any question here? No, right? So we have two ending brackets. Make sure that we should not write anything after this last ending bracket. And here, after the first ending bracket, I'll put some extra space so that I will create something here. Now, let's do this one, and then I will explain that to you later. So if you remember, after this public class, we have this public static void main. So this is coming by default. When you are creating a class, this was coming by default when you are clicking on the checkbox. But if you don't click on the checkbox, it will not give you this line. Okay, I know that right now you'll be thinking, okay, so why I'm talking about this one right now. So you'll be understanding this one either today or in the next session. But you'll see, if I create a class, and if I give any name, and if I don't click on this checkbox and click on finish, then it will not give you this public static void main. You see that? It's not there in this class. To get that, you have to type it manually. Public static void main is the same thing. You just need to type it manually. It will work as the same way. Okay, so we'll come to this point later. Let me delete this. I don't need this class. Okay, so right now I have to create something so that it will work as I expected here. From this approach, I need to move out to some other approach. So first of all, you have to type public. Then we will write void. Then you have to give, I will explain these things later, okay? Don't worry about these things. Right now, if I'm going to explain you, you will not be able to understand, but this one, this void, you will understand in our next session, but I will explain this to you, all of these things later, okay? So you have to type public void, and here you have to give some name that the operation that you are going to do, like what kind of operation we are going to do here. What is our goal here? Adding two numbers, right? So our goal is to add two integer numbers. You see that? Our goal is to add two integer numbers. So let me give a name like adding two integer numbers. Okay, give any name, and the name should be meaningful. The variable name, this is called function, so we are creating function here, so it's called function or method, the same thing, but the name should be meaningful. If you remember that I already told you, when you are creating the package, when you are creating the class, the name should be meaningful, and there will be no space. You see that I don't have any space in the name. Now if you see, it's something like similar. Public is there. Static, I don't have this static, but you will learn that static in our next session. But I have void here, I have void here, I have main, which I need to run the class, but here I don't have the name main, I have something else. I have like I'm creating my own thing here. Okay, now I have something like this. So I don't need all of these things, I just need this parentheses. I just need this parentheses. Okay, and then I will open this bracket as like this. I will open this bracket, and then because I have opened this bracket here, and you see that it's highlighted, this closing bracket, so I'll also need a closing bracket here. Okay, so this is a basic format. This is how we create a function, how we create a method. You will learn more like after doing some practice today. You will understand this, how it works. Okay, so this is how it look like. Public void, then give a name, that what kind of operation you are trying to do. If you're trying to add three numbers, okay, so I will give the name adding three integer numbers. If you are adding two double numbers, you can say that, okay, adding two double numbers. It's up to you. Okay, now inside this is the main place where you have to do your operation. So what is our operation here? Our operation is to add two numbers, right? These lines, right? So let me just copy these lines as is and paste it inside. So this is our operation that we have to perform. Okay, any question? No questions? Okay. Okay, so until now we have created a function or method. Then inside this function or inside this method, we have the operation. Now the problem is, how can we get this one here in this, inside this bracket? How can I get this? So there is a way, and you have to remember this. Okay, so let me keep these lines in a comment. So all of these lines in a comment now. Okay, now if you're trying to say, okay, so why don't I just use this name here? This look like I have these are in the same class, so why should I just call this name like this? It will not work like that. So for example, you are a human being, right? And to call you, you have a name so that I can call you, specifically you. So you all are human being and we have a different names. So if I need to call you, so I have to call by you by your name, right? So it's like similar things we have to do here. So we have to create a reference here so that we can call this method. Okay, we have to create a reference. So the creation of the how to create the reference is, if you remember, we create this thing before. Let me go back to this address learning. Okay, you see this here? This is called like you created a reference. You created a reference of this list of a child array list. How you created this list, and then string, then the name of the reference, and by using this reference you are using some options. You see that these are the options is already provided by the Java. So we are going to do this almost the same thing here. Okay, so the creation of the reference is, at first you have to write down the name of the class. So what is the name of the class here in our case?
Adding to integer.
No. Name of class.
Simple function learning, right?
Yes, simple
function learning.
Yes, that is correct. So we have to
yes,
use
thank you.
this. So you have to use this class name here. Let me just copy this and keep it here. And then we have to give some name of the reference. If you remember that we used something like some names when we are creating list and set. So we'll do the same thing here. So this is our class name. And then after that, we have to use a reference. Reference usually we use, okay, let me do that in this way. So we have a simple, I will take the first letter from each words, okay? So it's SFL, SFL, okay? Then after that, we have equal sign. So just ignore this part, and then think list, name of the list equals to new, then again list, and then you have to ignore this part and then this parenthesis. So we have to go for the same approach. Name of the class, reference, then equals to new, then again name of the class, and then parenthesis. So this is the way how we create a reference. Reference is basically to like use the methods or function of that class. You will understand it now. So I have created this reference. Now I have, if I just use this SFL and then put a dot, you will see some options. All of these options are coming from Java. All of these except one. Except two, sorry, not one, except two. Can anyone tell me which are the two options you can see in this list?
Sorry, which of the app options are new or something?
No, which are the options we have already, like in this class?
Get and toString.
No.
We had like before this.
Adding to numbers.
Yes.
Yes, you see that adding to integer numbers. If you see, I have this in this class, right? that is inside this class, and that is something like I created it. So when you use this reference and then put a dot, then you'll see this adding two numbers there. Then again, there is one more thing, that is main. This is main is also this for this main. So whatever you have in this class, you will be able to access by using this reference. That's why we have this reference. We have to create this reference to access this function. Okay, so you have to understand two things here, that when you need to create a function, you have to create this function outside this method, outside this main method, but make sure that you are creating it before ending the class. Okay, before ending the class. And also you have to make sure one thing, that to access this function, to access this method, you have to create a reference like this. Once you create a reference like this, then just use this reference and put a dot, then you will see all these options there. If you have a multiple functions, if you have a multiple method, all the functions list will be here. Okay, now let's do one thing. So because we already have one function here, so let's just try to call this function that we have created. So this is SFL dot. When you put this dot, then you will be able to access this function adding two integer numbers. Now if you see, I don't have anything here in this main method. I don't have anything uncommented except this two line, right? So let's try to run this, then see what happens here. You see that it's 30. Why? Because in this function I'm adding two numbers, one is 10, one is 20, and then I'm adding this two number here, then printing that value, printing that result. So this is the way how we can call this function. We can create a function, and then by creating a reference, and then by using the reference, I can call that function, and then function will work like this. Any question here? Any question?
So I have a question. So the reference, this is the only way, like this way we need to do the reference, like always this the class name, and then make a give a new name, and then equal the new. This is the approach to always
Yes.
do the thing. Okay.
Yes. So this is the way. So there are like two ways that we can access this function. So this is the one of the way, and this is the most of the time that you will be using. Okay. So
and then these, like the SFL, you put this name, like this way we can just any meaningful, this is the, like we need to do this way, like
yeah, so what we usually do is because this class name start with that as uppercase, so
yes,
we keep the same name. We keep the same name.
Only the S is low,
S is the lowercase.
lowercase, everything is
So
lowercase.
that is the way that how we create a reference like this.
Okay.
Okay. I thought that to keep it simple, I use something like a small reference name. That's why I keep that as it. But it's fine. We can also practice in this form. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let me write it down here. Class name. How you will create this reference? Class name. Then so reference name. The name is something different, but right now I use this reference name. Okay. Then equal sign, new, again class name, and then parenthesis and semicolon. So this is the way how you will create a reference of any class. Okay, and now to create a reference of this class, this is the way how I created it. So let's do some practice. So you have to create a it's better if you create a different package, but if you don't want to do that, just create a class. Once you create a class, then make sure that you have this main method. You click on this checkbox, public static void main. Once you do that, outside the first closing bracket, that's mean which is belongs to main. If you select this closing curly bracket, it will show you that this is the opening bracket. Okay, so this is the way how we check if we have all the closing and opening brackets are there or not. Okay, so make sure that after this closing bracket you type this thing public void and give any name to your function name or method name, then keep these lines over there. After that, use this closing bracket for this function, and then you will also have a closing bracket for your class. So this is the closing bracket for your class. So just do it now, then we'll do some more practice here.
So do you want us to do with the same int values that, which one do you want to do? You already did one, so do you want us to do with the other one?
It's up to you, because after that, after you complete this task, I will give you one more task to complete that before I move into the next topic.
So we should use the one that you created on the top, right?
Yes, you can, or you can go for the double. So it's up to you.
Okay. Can you go up, and I want to see where the adding two numbers came from? Is it possible?
Yes. Adding two numbers came from means.
Can you go to the top? I want to see what you did at the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, can you go down now? Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Thank you.
No problem. So let me keep that close so that.
Will you please check my Eclipse, because I already made a class and I got an error under the class name.
Okay, let me check it. Okay, so what is your class name?
Simple function learning.
Can you scroll up? Can I see that? Simple function. No. So it's app is lowercase. In your case, you created this class app lowercase, so it's better if you just copy this.
Oh, okay.
Copy this class name from here, line number 3. No, just only the class name. You can double click on it. No. Do Control Z. Control Z. Now double click on this name. Yeah, just copy and paste it here. No, select that line again. Select this word. No, select this line number 26 here. This yes, class name, and then paste it here. Paste.
Control C. I'm going to paste here now.
Okay, do the same thing after the new. Okay. Right now, after this name, open use open and closing parenthesis here.
Yeah,
Not
right.
here. After this line. So in line number 26, before that SFL, keep your cursor and before this SFL here. After that, simple function learning. Yes, keep it here and press enter. So take it to the next line. Take it to the next line. Yes. And now after this simple function learning in line number 26, after this like end of this line, just put a opening and closing parenthesis. And outside of that, just put a semicolon. Outside of this parenthesis, put a semicolon. So this is the way how you will create a function. Now, in line number 27, delete the things that you have after the dot.
It's adding number, two numbers.
Yes, delete everything from here. Everything, the semicolon and the parenthesis as well. Okay, type SFL again and put a dot. You see that the option here? Just select that option. Double click on it. No, double click on it. You see that? So this is the way. This is your function. Okay. So when you are trying to use this function, make sure that you know what is the name of the function is.
So yeah, I had to write down exactly the name of class. Yeah.
Yes. If you scroll down, scroll down. You already have this everything. Now, if you run this class, you should be able to see 90 in that output, right?
Yeah.
So it's working. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, I got some submission here. Let me check this submission. So, theta. Okay, you did that with a double. So you're getting 6.0. Yeah, that is correct. Suffering, yes, yes, you are also have done that with a double.
Can I
And
share my screen, please, when you have time?
yes, I can check that as well. So Safrin, I think that you are not printing that. So if you add that print, then you will be able to see the output in the console.
So this is the thing, like I did already the coding, but I'm having the error. So I
Yes.
will over here is something, the problem is saying the syntax error, but I am not sure what is the problem.
So here in the end of the line, you have to type. You have to use that opening and closing parenthesis here. End
Okay.
of this line, yes. Yes. And as we know, no, not this one. The parenthesis.
Oh, the parenthesis.
And as we know that after each and every line, we have to close that with semicolon. So after that line, in the end of this line, you have to use semicolon. Now you have another problem, that is right now you don't see that, but the problem is the name of that reference. So don't use the same as you have in a class name. Make it that as lowercase. The name of the reference.
Okay, so this one I put the lowercase.
Not this one. This is the name of the class. Make sure that you have the keep the name of the class as is here.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Name of the reference is this one. So change this the capital S with the lower s. Yes, here. So in this way it will be different. So you miss that I. And then you have to use the same reference name to call that function. That's it. Now if you run it, you will be able to see 70 in the console.
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, let's go back to my screen. Okay.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Is my voice sounding better today?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, because I'm on a different computer, so that's why. Okay. So when we are coming outside the first curly bracket, so does that mean we came out of the class, but we are doing the function, creating the function inside the public static void main?
No. So the thing is, this curly bracket belongs to this main method.
Okay.
This is the main method, and this first curly bracket, closing curly bracket, belongs to that. If you see this function also have an opening curly bracket, and after that you are also closing it. So you are not writing anything outside the class. Outside the class means is this part.
Okay. So now the reason I'm asking, so that's okay. Show me what is the class outside the class? Show me again.
Okay, outside the class means is this part. Outside
outside class. Okay.
Yes, last curly bracket. That is the outside the class.
Right. So what I'm trying to understand is that, so when we are trying to create the function, we are creating it outside the public void static, but we are still inside the class, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so that let me this is for myself to understand. So since we are going out of the public void, that's why we have to remember that we have to write this public void.
This is something like a different concept, but yes, right now just think like you have to use public, and also you have to use void or something else. We'll learn that later, but right now it should be public void. And then
yeah, because the reason I'm gonna remember is because since I'm going out of public void static, so I'll have to type it.
yes,
Is
for
that
now,
okay to remember? Yeah. Okay.
for now, yes.
Okay.
So if you're going public outside the public void, public static void main, this is the closing bracket, then you have to use something like this: public void, and then name of the function. So it depends on you. The name basically depends on you, but make sure that you give a meaningful name, because you might not be the only person using this function.
Right, right.
Okay.
So this is basically F parenthesis, right?
Which one?
Function parenthesis, right?
Function parenthesis, yes.
Right. So yeah, that also, like when we did function in algebra or something, function always had a parenthesis with it, right? So we can remember it like that too, right?
You can also remember like that, yeah.
Right, right. Okay.
Like
I
you
think,
see,
and the next thing you had to do is you had to go inside the public again to refer that.
yes. So I cannot use this function directly. I cannot call this function directly. To call this function, I need to make a reference of this class, so that whatever the functions we have created, if you have like 100 functions here, then we need to use some reference to call all these functions. So this is the way how we will create a reference. And once we create a reference, by using this reference, I'll be able to access all the functions that we have created.
Right. And that's still inside the class and inside the public as well. So that's simple. Yeah. So but we are just writing the class name and then the shortcut new class name, and then we declare it, right, with the semicolon and then adding two numbers. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Is there any other question? So did we understand this part, like creating function and how we can create a reference and using this reference creating calling this function? Is it simple to understand? Okay, so okay, I got one yes. See, if I don't go and get any no, that's mean that we are good to go. So the thing is, this is not only be the this is not the only function that you might be created. You might need to create hundreds or thousands of functions like this. Okay, this is possible. In one class, you might need to create like more than 100 or 200 functions, and you have to manage all these functions. So that's why you need to create a function with a meaningful name, so that it will be also easy for you to remember. Okay, so I created this function, and I also need to know that what this function does. So if I say that adding numbers, it's not telling me that adding numbers means that how many numbers I'm adding. It also doesn't tell me that what kind of numbers I'm adding here. This function is adding. So that's why you also have to remember this part. So you also have to give some meaningful name for this function. Okay. Now you can call this function as many times as you want, like this. If you remember this, we use this add for multiple times to add these values inside this list, right? You see that the same option. So previously I was using this term option, but from now I will use this term function. Okay, because now we are learning function. So previously when I was using this list, I was using this function to add values inside the list. And if you see, I was calling this add for multiple times. You see that I was using this multiple times. The same way, if you just go and then simple learning function, and then put a dot. You will see this function again. Select this function, then call it as many times as you want. Okay, so how many times I call it? 4 times, right? So if I run it, it will show me the result for 4 times. You understood this part? So I can call this function as many times as I want. Got it?
So then how will be the relation, how will it relate to that? At first you said we had like a lot of numbers you gave us. Yeah, so why how is it relating to the, like, you know, how to make it easy?
Yeah, so we have to do something here so that it will not do the same thing again and again. It will take the input from me, and based on the input it will add the numbers. Okay, so this is one of the approach. So if I can call this function for multiple times, so I have to do something in this function so that this function will take different numbers, and based on that numbers it can give me the output. Got it? Okay, now let's do this tricky part here. So as I said that we are going to write pass that different numbers, right? To do that, first of all we have to take this part out. That is causing me, that is like making this issue, like taking is taking this 30, is printing this 30 every time. So let's take this part out. Okay, the second part is when you are expecting some input, then this is the place where we say that this is the input place of your function. So you have to use this part to get input. Okay, so what we need to do is we have to get these two things instead of here inside this function, because we are declaring this, right? If you remember that we are declaring this here, but we don't want to declare this here. That's why we need to take this part, integer a. We are trying to get this input here, and also we need to get this integer b. And one more important thing, when you have a multiple inputs, then between the inputs you have to use comma. Okay, now this is the way how you will be expecting some inputs. Whoever is calling this function, they have to give inputs here. We'll see that how you will get that input. Okay, now because I'm using this variable here, do I need to use it here again? I don't know, right? Do you know that? I don't know that we can do that. Can anyone tell me?
What is the question again, please? It's not clear.
The question is, I have these variables declared here.
Okay.
And I also have a variable declared here. So do you think that I can do that?
No, it will be confusing in the system. I don't think so.
It's confusing means that we cannot create the same variable again, right?
Yeah. We cannot. In the Java, we cannot have the same variable.
Yes. So this input, this part is basically the one of the part of your function. So whatever the variables you declare, this will be considered, this will be accessible here in all the places inside the function. Okay. So we cannot keep these two lines here.
What do I
Now-
hear?
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm okay. So I done till this thing. So what to do next?
Okay. So the thing is, now I am expecting two inputs. Before that it was inside. Now because I keep that here in the input section of the function, now whoever is going to call this function, you see that I got a red underline. Now if you mouse over on this red underline, it will tell you that there is some suggestion here. Okay, what is the suggestion? The method adding two numbers is integer. Is that adding two numbers, integer and integer, two values? Okay. Then next, in types, simple function learning is not applicable for the arguments. Okay, we'll go to the fixes part. So one of the fixes, add arguments to match adding two integer numbers. So it's suggesting me if I add some values here like this, then my problem will be resolved. Okay, so another suggestion is it's telling me to change the method and remove this one. Either I can do this part or I can change this. So what do you think? Which will be the best one? So what will be our approach here?
I believe the variable will be the best one.
Because
Integer A and B.
because
Because
our
the value can be lots of number.
any number, right? Any number. So here our approach is we will take some input from the outside. That's why we have to keep it these two variables here. Okay. Now, as you see, this is I will keep this line in a comment. As you see that before that I was using 10 and 20 inside this function, but now I'm using this 10 and 20 when I'm calling this function. So here's the important part. This is a input section for that function. Now if you're trying to send 1, it will not take that. It will say that okay, so you are missing one of that integer. So it's telling you, it's giving you the suggestion that it's expecting two integer numbers, one integer number and then comma and another integer number. So you have 1. So if you keep that another one, then you're fine. So you have to keep 2, not less than 2, not more than 2. You cannot do that because your function is expecting only 2. So how can you give 3? How does your function will know that how to do with that third one? What to do with the third one? Or if you're sending 1, then how your function will know that what to do with that the only one variable? Okay, that's why it's mandatory. Whatever the inputs you are expecting, you should send same number of inputs. Now let's run it. So it's printing. How it's printing? When you are calling this function, it's simply sending this 10 and 20 here. 10 and 20 here. And once it's sending 10 and 20 here, then it's going inside and putting this 10 and 20 here. Then it's adding these two numbers and keeping that inside the C, and C is basically the summation of these two numbers, 30. And then it's printing this 30 here. Got it?
I did keep only C and I did this program and I got the result. So I can keep C also, right?
Yes, you can keep the C also. So this is the way how we will create our function. When we are creating a function, it will be like dynamic, not like it will print this 30 every time. Now if I uncomment the second line and it's expecting 2 inputs, now if I send like 30 and 60, it will print 30 for the first and 90 for the second. Let's try and see. You see that 30 for the first one and 90 for the second one. Similarly, you can call this function as many times as you want. Okay, so let's do some practice now. So you already have this function. Make that function dynamic so that it will take two inputs, because my function is basically to adding two integer numbers. So it should take two integer two integer values like this, because I know that some of you using double. So instead of integer, in your case, it will be double. Then add that to number and print that value. That's it. Okay, let me check this submission. Yes, that is right.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so why do we have to call it so many times? Why can't we just erase the 10 and 20 and we just keep on replacing with different numbers?
Let's say that that is my requirement. I'm giving you like 100 numbers, and you have to add these numbers in this format, like two each time, like first two, and then first and second, and then third and fourth, then fifth and sixth. So you have to add this number. To do that, you have to create the 100 variables, right? And to add these numbers, you have to create more variables to keep that result, and then you will print that result. So instead of doing that, you can just create a function like this and call this function multiple times.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it's not like we have to do it in this format, but we need it so we need to understand how this function works. And the thing is, sometime when you are creating function, you might need to call that function for 4 or 5 times. Might be.
Okay. All right. So for now, you want us to do just two numbers?
Yes, just two are, let's try with this inputs.
Okay.
You want us to do the your number or the any other number?
Any number is fine. So Beauty, are you getting the results? Are you calling this function and getting the result?
Yeah, I got the result. I think I didn't give you the whole thing.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just curious that if you are able to call that function, passing two values and getting the result or not.
Brother, I did the rest of the others. Can you please check?
Okay, check. I can see the result only. Results. Yes, I can see the results.
Before result, I also send you the program.
Again?
Where did it come from?
Okay. So. Oh yes, I can see, and it's supposed to be 70, 110, 150, 190, 70, 110, 190. Yes, the answer is right.
Thank you.
No problem. Yes, you good, looks good. So did you understand the concept? Okay, I got 2 yes. Three yes. I need all of you to understand this concept because if you understood, that means that I can give you a task now.
Can you please check my code? I don't know why it's showing error.
Oh, okay, I can check that. So this is the one, right?
No, actually that's the wrong one. I'm sorry, the other one.
Okay, no problem. Okay, other one. Okay. So so the thing is, in line number 20, yeah, okay, line number 20, here you have to mention the variable name, not the numbers. Not the numbers. When you are using the numbers here, that's mean that you're making that function static. That's not dynamic. Like it will work only for that number. So you have to use a variable here. Same thing for here. Variable. And then you have to use these variables here in line number 22 to add these two numbers.
Okay, now it should be good, right?
No. Okay, you can run it and then I'll tell you that what is the issue here. So you're getting 5.6, right?
Right.
Can you now tell me what is the issue is here with the printing this 5.6? Can you change the value in line number 16 and check?
You want me to check to any number?
Any number is fine. Okay, now you are expecting like 6.1, right? Your
Yeah.
expectation is adding up to 2.7 and 3.4 should be 6.1, but you are getting 5.6.
Right.
So can you now tell me that what is the issue here?
Yes, because like the you need to declare the C equal to like the what is the function like the operation is doing in here, like the double A plus double B in here. Line number 22, we need to declare that the what is the option of the operation, what is which we want to do. Like double A plus double B. Like she only declare the double C equal to 2 plus 2 plus and like 2.2 plus 3.4. That's why we always get this number, not the other one.
Yes, but the thing is, Safin, so when you are changing it here in line number 16, you again need to change it here in line number 22.
Yeah, I did that. I just did that.
But we don't want
Better
that.
to use the variable.
Yeah, variable. Use the
Just need
variable.
to use the variable here in line number 22, and the variables are in line number 20.
Sure.
Right.
Right. So instead of 2.7, you have to type A, and instead of 3.4, you have to type B.
Okay. So that was the only thing. But even after that, it was showing some kind of error, was it? Yeah, it's no, but that's not error. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, it's good now. Thank you.
Did you change it? No, right?
No.
Let's change it and see that.
Change it back.
No, change it. Okay,
To,
change it. Okay,
change it to original.
I'm giving, yes, I'm giving you another example. Okay, so call that function again. Call this function again in line number 17. Use that reference. Call that function again. Pass two different numbers. Delete that B. The B is there. Delete that B. Now try to run this class. You see that?
I have to change it there, right?
Okay, change it now. Change it over there. Sorry for that background noise. So what you are getting? Why you are getting this twice? Because the thing is, in line number 22, you keep that 2.3 and 5.6. So it doesn't matter that how many times you call this function, it will do the same job again and again. So that's why in line number 22, after the equal sign, you have to type A, that is the input variable A, and after the plus sign, you have to keep B, that is another variable that is in line number 20 you have. So if you just delete this 2.3 plus 5.6, delete this 2, delete this 2, and type A plus B.
8 plus 8?
A plus B.
Oh, okay.
The variables you have in line number 20.
Right.
Right? Now just run it. Then you will see different numbers. Based on your input, line number 16, you are getting 5.6. Based on your input, line number 17, you are getting 7.899.
I see. So we just need to change in the when we're calling it, right?
Yeah. Yes. Not.
Other than that, the variables are gonna be the same. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So everyone got that idea, right? So we always have to change it in that the place where we are calling it, not in the function, because the function should be for overall, like whatever the input it will take, based on that it will give you the result. So Nasida, yeah, your code looks good. Okay, so it's 8:21. Let's take a break till 8:40, and then we'll be back again. Okay, let's take a break.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so did you understand the purpose of function? Okay, so if you don't have any issue, then we can move forward. So the reason of using function is if you need to use like same functionality again and again, then you can just create that function and keep it like that. So it not only for this addition you create this function, you can create for multiple reasons, for multiple operation. So this is one of the way that you can do that. So just create that, and this is the place, this is a very important thing of the function, that where you are getting your input from. Make sure that you understand this part, because based on this you will pass values. So if you are inserting here double, then it will expect a double value here, so you have to pass a double value here. Okay, so depend on that, make sure that you understand this input part, because based on your input your operation will work here, like addition, subtraction, multiplication. Okay, so let me just uncomment these two lines and pass some values like 20, comma 80, and for this one, let me uncomment that, and then 90, comma 50. Okay, so I'm expecting 4 results in the console, and these are the 4 results. If you see that, based on the inputs, it's giving me that output. Okay, that's mean that this function is dynamic, so it doesn't matter how many numbers I will get, it will give me that output based on that numbers. So I don't need to go through with these things again, like creating the variables, putting that inside a variable, and do that things. Okay, so this is the way how it works, this function works. Now this is your task that you have to do, that is right now I'm doing it with two values, adding two integer values. Can you make some changes so that we can add 3 integer values? So for you, if you are using double, so it's just adding one more double numbers. So can you do that? Just think, where should I use this one extra number? Where I have to use this?
Do you want us to do that, or
Yes. Now you have to create. Now you have to just add this here. Don't create another function. Just add it here.
So just by keeping the value same, we'll just put the like new keep the variable same, and you have to add the new value, right?
Okay. So this is the things, right?
Yes.
Now you have to pass one more value.
Sure.
Now you have to pass, let's say that 30.
Yep.
So based on this, make some changes in your function.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay. So to do that, you have only 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I got one submission. Submission is Yes, Masita, your code looks good. Beauty, your code looks good. Yep. Two minutes left.
Brother, can you please check mine?
Yes, I'm checking it. Yep, code looks good.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, one more minute and then we'll be done. Okay, one more submission here. Yes, that's right, Safin. So now we got that. Okay, so I believe almost everyone submitted. Say 50 now. Okay. Okay, so let's move forward. So you understood that based on my requirement, so let's say that if I have to add three numbers, so I have to create a function that will take three input, like with anything, and with any variable name, and then you have to add this here. That's it, right? And once you do that, it will add three numbers. See that? It will add three numbers. Now I will take this back. I'll take this back to my previous adding two numbers, because this function says that adding two numbers. So I'll keep it for two numbers only. And if I need anything like that, for example, if I need to create another function that should add three numbers, what I need to do is I have to go outside this closing bracket, which is this bracket means that this function ending bracket, but make sure that before ending this closing class bracket. Okay, so this is the place I will create another function, same format, public void, then I will say adding three integer numbers, and then parenthesis, curly bracket, and then this done, right? Now because I'm expecting three different numbers, so I will create variables here. Okay, let me create variable with different names, because I don't want to give you that the confusing part right now. So A, B, C, D, E, C, D, 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 integer E, and integer F. And here I'll do integer G equals to D plus E plus F. Now simply I'll just print that G. Now the thing is, if you remember that how we call this function is just use this reference name, right? Same way you have to go and type this reference name and then put a dot then you will be able to see the new function that I just created here. You see that in the list? So I have two functions that I have created in this class. One is adding 3 integer numbers and adding 2 integer numbers. Right now I need to work with 3 numbers, so I'll select the first one. And now once you select it, it will it's expecting 3 integer numbers. So usually it's 0 because you just selected that. So if you want, you can just change that to something else like this. Now run this class. You'll be able to see two outputs here. One is 30 for this line. One is 130 for this line. Okay. Yes, Anila, your code looks good.
So this is the best way to add 3, like
best way means that if you are adding 3 numbers, so based on your operation, you should have the name like similar to that, right?
correct.
Previously, I told you to do that to understand how the input works, how that the value passing the value works. So right now, take it back to the previous situation, how you have this one, like 2 inputs, adding 2 numbers for this function, and then create another function to add 3 numbers.
Got it.
Any question
right now? Adding 3 values in the function?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Any question? Anyone? No questions? Okay. So if you don't have any questions, so I'm giving you some extra time, like to create this function and also create one more function to add 4 numbers. So you have to create another function to create 4 numbers, and you have to call that function here in that main method and pass 4 numbers there. Okay. So if you want, you can skip this adding 3 numbers now and then work on that 4 numbers. If you think like 5 minutes is not enough for you, or else you can do both of them. So it's up to you. So you have 5 minutes to do that. Do you need some more time?
Yes, please. Almost done. Like 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm giving you 3 minutes. No problem. Okay, I got one submission. Okay, so this is for 3 double numbers, and this is for 4 double numbers. Okay. Okay. Good. And when you're calling it adding 4 double numbers. Okay. And you can also call that adding 3 numbers, adding 2 double numbers. Same way. Okay.
So what I noticed is that SFL, so the next time we'll have to use SFL1 or SFL2, something like that?
No, if you see here, in my case, you see that the same reference number, sorry, the same reference name I used here to call different functions.
But I don't know. At first, when I used SFL, it was giving me error. When I give SFL1 like a different name, it worked. So
if you just use that SFL1 and then dot, then you will be able to see all the functions in your class.
right.
Then select any function. It should work.
Like you know, if I change it back to SFL. Now the SFL has a underline saying duplicate local variable SFL.
Yes, so you might have already created that variable with that name.
Yeah, that's SFL, right? So like
Yes.
I said, so I have to put SFL1 now or something different?
Okay, so let me make you presenter. So I want to see that. I believe this is not the one. So, okay, so because you are trying to create another reference, that's why. So you can create multiple reference of that class, but for multiple reference, the concept goes as like the same as like a variable. So
So I didn't have to create this again. I could have just continued from the previous one. I
yes,
could just do SFL dot and the adding for number would come up.
yes, that's correct.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay, I
So
got
you
you.
see that in line number 19, your variable, your reference is pointing to that SFL, right? Not SFL1.
Right.
So if you just remove that line number 18, which is like duplicate of line number 15, you'll be fine.
Right. Okay, okay, I'll do that. No problem. We got it now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so let me check here. Okay, so maybe your code looks good. So if you are calling it, is supposed to you're supposed to add like 4 different numbers every time. So your code looks good. 4 numbers. Yes, this looks good. Three individual numbers. Okay, 4 individual numbers. Yeah, looks good. And something is wrong. Okay, so I'm making you the presenter so you can share your screen and see what's going on here.
Hi, Anila is having some problem. I am done. She would like to share her screen, please.
Yeah, I already made her the presenter so she can share her screen. Yep. Okay, so here the issue is same function name. So in line number 24, you have a function name adding 4 double numbers. In line number 40, you have the same function name. So why don't you just delete this line number 24 to line number 27? Yeah, you can just delete that. Now you should be fine. But the thing is, okay, cancel it. Scroll up. Okay, here. So here you are passing. Okay, can you now tell me what is the issue here? Can you scroll down? Can you please scroll down? Okay. Now
learn more.
No. That is fine. So can you now tell me what is the issue here? If you scroll up and see where the error line, scroll up, and the line number is 10.
I believe it's problem over here adding dot 4 double number. So it's a 4 double D will be lowercase, I believe so.
Okay, either you can change it here or there.
Change it here.
Okay, you see that? Now the issue is gone. If you run this class, I believe you will see the output. Yep. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone understood the
Could you please check my, I don't know what happened to my coding. I don't get that option that the adding 4.
Okay. Adding 4 integer numbers. Okay, now.
Why there is an error in there? Like I don't get it.
I think something is missing. One of the character is missing there. So if you go back, I think there is a C missing there in line number 30. FUNC is there. Simple. So simple.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Now after the dot, put a control space.
Yeah, now it's
coming. Okay.
Okay, now it's good. Okay.
Okay. So let me show you one of the shortcut. So let's say that it's your reference name, like this name is very long, and sometimes it's possible, there is a possibility like you might make a mistake when you are typing it. So what you do is just type the initial part. So what is the initial part? Simple, like simple or whatever the initial part is, 3 or 4 characters, just type it. Once you type it, do the control and space. Control space that usually we use for SYSO and control space. We see the, what is that? Okay. You see that? Once I do that SYSO and control space, is giving me the whole thing, like system out println. So this is a shortcut, right? And if you are typing like simple, like, and your variable name, the reference name is very big, so what you can do is just type 3 or 4 characters and then put a control space, then it will give you the suggestion. And from this suggestion, you will see that your reference name is there. Just select that reference, hit enter, then you'll be able to use that. Okay. Then put a dot, and then again, just select a function that you want. Okay, I hope you understand the concept. Any question here? Any question on functions? No, so it's pretty clear, right? And it's a very important concept because most of the time you might need to create a function for the scripts, automation script that you're going to learn from next week. So that's why we are doing it this function learning this week. Okay, so the next thing is by using this function, this reference, you can call all this function from multiple times. Any number of times if you want, you can just call them and it will work as the same way. Okay, like this. See that? Same function you can call this multiple times. Now, if I want to create another reference, I can create that. It's possible. So just simply same line, I just need to use it here, but because I already have this reference name, so I cannot use this reference name. The concept is same as like a variable. If you already have a variable declared with this name, you cannot create the same variable with that name again. So the concept is same here. The reference name is this, and you cannot create this reference again with the same name. So I'm giving this 2. So this is a new reference name now, right? So by this, using this reference name, sample, oh, sorry, not sample, this is simple function learning 2. So I'm selecting this second reference and then put a dot, and then I'll be able to call all this function that I have in this class again. So these are different reference, but I can easily use these functions like this, and it will give me that output as like the same as it was working before for that other reference. It's just like you can create multiple reference, but usually we don't need to do that. Sometimes we need to do that.
I was gonna ask, in reality, do we have to do that? That's what I'm asking.
Sometimes we have to do that. In that case, you should know that if there is a need that you have to create another reference for the same class, you can create that. Okay.
Okay.
So it's just like not all the time you will be doing these things, but in case, yes, sometimes we need to do that. Sometimes we have to create a reference for the same class for 2 or 3 times. We need to do that. For that kind of situation, we have to know that how it works, how you will create that. Okay. Okay. Any question? No questions. Okay. Okay. So that means that you understood this function very well, and this is a very important concept in program. Very, very important concept. That's why I told you don't miss this class. Okay. Okay. So let me. We have 15 more minutes, so we can add one more topic here. So the topic is I will create. So let's say that you have now I have to add 2 double numbers. Okay. So it will be almost like the same, right? Only part will be different is here. Instead of integer, I'll type double here. And instead of integer input, I'll expect double input, and also here double input. Because I have 2 inputs with double, the result also should be in double. And that's it, right? So I can easily create this function. Almost the same concept, but it's a different data type. One is with integer, another with double. Now, if I want to call this function, how can I call this? I can call it either with this reference or this reference. It doesn't really matter. So sample function learning 2 and then dot, I'll be able to access this double, and here I'm sending this dot this. Okay. Now if I run it, I'll be able to see the output, which is 30.4, right? Okay, so I can create multiple functions. I can create 100 functions, 1,000 functions as a. The only problem is if you are creating all the functions in the same class, so after a certain time, like after a year, you'll see that it will be very difficult for you to manage all these codes, because in the same class you have a function for adding integer numbers. In the same class you have a function for adding double numbers. or multiplication or division or subtraction or some other operation, if you have this, it will be like a huge class. So in that kind of situation, what we do is we separate things, like we create a class, we keep all this function in a class that will work only for the integer numbers, let's say. And for in this case, I have a double, so I will create another class that will work only for double. Okay, so first of all, let's check with that integer first. Okay, so in functional learning, in this package, inside this package, I'll create another class, and that class is for like, I'll give a overall name like adding integer numbers. Okay, this class will handle the adding integer numbers only. Okay, nothing else. So adding integer numbers, and this time, this is the first time that I'm not clicking on this checkbox. I'm not clicking on this public static void main checkbox. Okay, this for the first time. Remember that. So I'm creating a class adding integer numbers, and I'm not clicking on this checkbox and then clicking on this finish. So once I click on this finish, then what I'll see? I'll see the package name, that which, if this class is under which package, and the class name. That's it, nothing else, right? I don't have the main function here, main method here, right? So the thing is, I don't want to run this class. I just want to keep this function here. That's it. I don't want to run this class. That's why I don't need this main method. So this is one of the important concept here. So when you need to run this class, when you need to run any class, you need main method, and this is the main method. If you don't have this main method, you will not be able to run this class. So let's say that you have this main method in this class. So once you right click on this class, go to this run as, you'll see this Java application. So you'll be able to run this class. If I click on this, the class is running, and you'll see that it's working, right? But if you go to this class that I just created without the main method, if I right click on this, go to this run as, you see, I don't have this run as Java application. I don't have this option. So to run any class, I need this main method. So this is one of the important concept. So if you need to run any class, you need this main method. If you don't want to run any class, you don't need that main method. Okay. Now let's say that this class I created only to handle the integer numbers, adding integer numbers. It can be like adding 2 integer numbers, adding 3 integer numbers, adding 4 integer numbers. So it depends on me that how many numbers I want to create, right? So what I'll do is I will just, let's say that, just copy these things. Let's not just type it. It will take some extra time. Let's just copy this. So I have these two functions here. The first function is for adding 2 numbers. Second function is for adding 3 numbers. If you want, you can create multiple like this. Copy, paste. This is for adding 4 numbers, 4 integer numbers. Okay, let me not do that part today. Create giving some different variable name here. GH I J.
Let's put this K.
K, and here it should be H
Hij.
I and J, and on the bottom it should be K. So I have 3 functions. One function is to adding 2 numbers, second function adding 3 numbers, and third function is adding 4 numbers. Okay. Now I need to create a reference of this class so that I can call this function. It's like the same thing that we did it here. It's like the same thing we did it here. Now I need your help. So I'll keep these two in a comment, keep these two lines in a comment. Now I need to create a reference of that class. Now tell me that format. I need to create a reference for that class that I just created. The class is here. This is one. Adding integer numbers. This is the name of the class. So I need to create a reference for that class.
Simple function learning 3.
Simple function learning 3. You mean
It should be adding integer number, the
Should be
class name.
class name first, then
Yeah,
reference.
class name first. Yeah.
okay? And what is the name of the class?
Adding integer number.
Adding integer numbers. After that,
Like we can go like a adding integer number. Like we can do AIT.
like this.
Yes.
Okay. After that,
And then after that we have the equal sign and
equal sign.
new
Class
name again, adding integer number.
Adding integer numbers.
Parentheses.
Then parenthesis.
And semicolon.
Semicolon. Okay. So my reference is now created, right?
Yes.
Let's see that if I use this reference, will you be able to access that functions or not? Okay. So adding integer numbers, and then when I put a dot, then you see all these functions are there, right?
Yes.
And all these functions are coming from where?
From that.
From this class. You see that? From this
Yes.
class.
Yes.
And if you see carefully, I don't have any function in this class that is called adding 4 numbers, right? And when I'm using this reference, I'm getting this adding 4 numbers because this adding 4 integer numbers is there. You see that? It's here. So let's try to call this function adding 4 integer numbers. Okay, why it's okay? Why didn't you tell me? Okay, I'm just giving some random variable name here. Now it looks good, no error. So let's change the numbers now. Okay, so what will be my expectation from this calculation? 90, 110, 120, right?
130.
30, 120.
120.
So this is another approach of creating functions, but in a similar kind of similar kind of function in the same class. So you might be creating you might need to create like multiple class, because in one class you might be adding like integer numbers only. In another class you might need to work on the doubles. In another class you might need to work with a string. For the different operations you have to create different class. You got it? So the approach is same, even though if you have a different the functions in a different class, you just need to call that. You just need to create a reference of that class inside a main method where you want to call it. Inside a main method, make sure that inside a main method, because only the main method will work, nothing else. So you are creating a reference inside the main method, and using this reference you are calling this function.
So quick question. So it is always a good idea to create function and separate them based on the variable, like for doubles and integer. To separate two classes.
It's just an example, like based on the data type, you should have a different class, and usually we don't need all these things. Like we don't need to create a class that will work only for adding integer numbers, only for adding double numbers. You might need to create a class to add numbers, or you
Oh,
might need to create a class for multiplication. So it depends.
mm,
But your approach should be, you should not have, like, for example, you are creating okay, so let me give you that idea, then I will come back to this question again, okay?
thank you.
No problem. So if you see that this is a class, right? And by this, you can create multiple functions. So let's say that you are creating this. Now you want to share this class, share this function with your friend. You can do that. So what these people have done here, you see this, all these libraries are already created and you are just using it. Simple, like this system out println. It's already created, you are just using it. The same way, if you want to create this library, you can create it and you can share that with your friend and some people who need to use that. You can keep it in online. Whoever need to use this functions, they just need to call this function and use it. That's it. Okay, so we'll get more idea about the libraries, how it works, but now it's just like in the same class you can keep the same kind of operation. Okay, for now. Got it? Okay, and for your question, it's like for now, I will prefer if you separate your functions based on the data type, because right now we'll do the practice on the data type. In future, you will understand that why we need to create this function in different class.
Yes, I got it. So we will like add another class for double and integer.
Yes,
Thank you.
no problem. Any questions? Anything that you didn't understand from our session today, like today's session? Okay. So it's already 9:30, but I'll take some extra 10 minutes from you today, because this is like a new concept, like to create a new class and keep the new the function in the class and call that function from the class. So it's a new concept. So let's do that practice, and after that we are good to go. Okay. Just create a class, and then if you are working with double, keep that functions that you already have created in that class, create a reference of that class and call that functions. That's it. The concept is same, almost the same that you did it in the same class, but now you're keeping your function in a separate class. That is the only difference right now. So you have 8 minutes to do that. Let me know if you need any help.
So do I supposed to click public static void or no?
No. So in this class, don't click on the checkbox.
Okay.
Public static void. Don't do that. Do you want us to print it? So, yeah, if you can print it, then you'll be like it will be like a confirmation that your program is working. Okay, I got one solution here. Okay, so this is your new class, public class adding double numbers. So here you have adding two numbers and adding four double numbers. Okay, and then in the main class you created this reference ADN, then you call that function adding 4 numbers, and you are getting that result. Yep, that is right.
So then we are copying and pasting and transferring all these double numbers to a separate one. Then like, can we now do we need to keep it in this one?
You don't need to keep it in the same one, but keep a copy of that. Keep a copy of that whatever you have before, like after the main method, right?
Right.
Keep a copy of that. Yes, keep a copy of.
What do you mean copy of that? Where should we keep it here in this class?
Yes.
Simple function learning class?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
don't just start it. Just keep a copy of that so that I will show you one of the important concepts so that you will be able to understand that.
Okay. But we need to keep this part for it to run, right?
Okay, so for some reason that audio was gone. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so there is a reason for that. So we'll understand in the next session. So that's why just keep a copy of your functions over there, whatever you have. Don't create any other new functions here. Just 2-3 functions are fine. Okay, and you just have created. Yes, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Fine. Okay. So you just have created one more new class with like adding either double or integer numbers, and it should be look like this. And once you have this, you are just creating a reference of that class, and by using the reference, you are calling the functions that you need to work with. So it's 9:41. So do you think that you need more time? A couple of minutes more, maybe?
Do you want us to share that like all the code from the new
Possible,
class?
if possible, you can do that.
Okay.
Just give me a minute. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, I'm back. So let me check the submission here first. Okay, I got your submission, Lasita, and so this is your package. Okay, this is your function learning, adding double numbers. This is your class. This is your functions. And then you are calling this, you are creating this reference. Yep, looks good. Okay, so it's 9:44, so it's we should be done by this time, but it's fine. If you're taking extra time, which is fine, you can do that. So for you, so whoever is done, they can leave, but before you leave, I want to give you some extra tasks before the next session, because if you do some more practice on this, it will be easy to understand for the next session. So the topics we'll cover in the next session, it will be very easy for you. Okay, so the thing is, the people who did that with double, they should create another class with the integer, adding integer numbers, and they should all you all should also need to create another class for the string. So adding 2 string variable, adding 3 string variable, adding 4 string variable. It's kind of like adding first name, last name, adding first, middle, and last name, something like that. So create multiple class, create multiple functions, and call that function in one main method. Okay. So that's it for today. So if you need to stay and show me that the code, you can stay. Otherwise, we are done for today. But make sure that before next session, please do some more practice on this. Okay. It's not like a homework. It's not like you have to do that. But if you do that, it will be good for you. So whoever need help, they can stay, or whoever need to submit their code, want to submit their code, they can stay. Otherwise, we are done for today. And thank you all. Thank you for joining. And I will upload this code, so you will get that code from that link that I shared. Yes, thank you, and walaikum assalam. Thank you. Good night.
Brother, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So before all of them, I did integer. So right now I create a new class with the double, and I run the code, and I have to finally get the result. I have to run it, right?
Yes. You have to run it from the main class, from the main method. So you have to create a reference inside a main method, right?
I would like to share my screen. I understand everything, but when I'm doing maybe something I did mistake.
Okay, no problem. You can check it.
So like this is my new class.
So in this class, we are not creating any reference, like line number 6 and 7, we should not create it here.
Okay.
So remove these two lines. Now this class should be only for the functions. So there will be no main method, okay? So the first function is here. So your closing curly bracket, I think is in down. So you don't need to keep that in down, because if you scroll down, so you see that the closing curly bracket for this function is in line number 29. So that is some like an extra line you have. So you don't need to keep that. That's it. But after that closing, that first one, after the line number 16, you can keep some extra line. So that if you want to create multiple functions, you can create it here.
So
now you have to call this function, right?
Yes.
Okay. To call this function, go back to your main function where you have your main method here, right? So after line number 15, so
15. Okay.
if you see that line number 16 is the closing bracket. So if you keep your cursor in line number 16, it will tell you, like keep your cursor in the closing curly bracket. Yes. Now it will tell you that where is the opening is, right?
Yes.
The main method. So you have to create that reference inside the main method. So after line number 15, which one is after line number 15?
You want me to make more space over here?
No, end of the line number 15. End of line number 16 now. Yes, now hit enter. I need some space here in the main method. Okay. Now in line number 17 or 18, you have to create a reference of that class. Not likely this, like, don't paste it here, so you don't need to remove that. Control Z. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Now hit enter. Let's create in the next line. Okay. Now we have to create a reference. To create a reference of that class, you have to type the name of the class first.
Simple learning.
No. What is the name of the class? Where you are trying to call that function from?
Over here, adding 4 double number.
Name of the class. So in line number 3, it says that public class and name of the class.
Okay, adding double numbers.
Yes, this is the name of the class. And
Correct.
in number 11, that is a function name.
Yeah.
And this is class name. So copy this class name. Go back to that main function here. Paste it here. Now after the space, give any reference name. Make sure that don't keep that as the same. Like change that A, the first letter.
Yeah, make it like
Case. Then after this, you don't need to do that. No, keep it like that. It's already different, right? The class name is already different. So after that, put a space and equal sign.
yes, the like rules. Equal sign. Then I have to put this one again.
Follow the line number 9. Follow the line number 9. So in line number 9, you have a class name.
Yeah, we have to put new over here.
Equals to new.
New space, adding double number.
No, class name. So this is a class name. You see that? That is a class name.
Yes.
No, why did you change that A from uppercase to lowercase? The class name is the same, is like this, right?
Yes. Okay, the function will be the lowercase. The class name will be always same.
Yes.
Okay, now the parentheses.
Now the parenthesis and semicolon. Now the reference is created. Now using this reference, you'll be able to access that function. Now hit enter and use that reference. Adding, just type adding and do the control space. Then you'll be able to, yes, control space. You see that? That is the reference number, first one. So hit enter. Okay, now put a dot. Then it will show you all the functions that you created in that
double
class.
H I J K. Yes, this is the one.
So select that and now pass the value.
Yeah. So I will do everything over here, and on this same class it will be reflect the result over here. Good. So what is the value should I put? We're creating double, right? So let's put 1.1. 2.1, 3.1, 4.1.
Now run this class. So the third one is the output.
Yes, 10.4. So what is the reflection I am getting over here right now?
Yes. So when you are creating the function here, you can use that function. You can call this function in some other class.
Okay, so I can use that function over here right now. So I will exactly do the same thing over here in line number 20 for the string. Then I will create another class by over here functional learning. Then for string, adding. I'll do that one by following this procedure. I got it.
Okay.
So this will be our homework, right? For adding the string to.
Yes, but not only one function. Try to create multiple functions in that class.
Okay, so I will add some more doubles, value, and
Yes.
variables. I will add some, like at least 2 each of them. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Bye bye.
Okay.